Hello everybody, my name is Dina and welcome to Unit 18, Lesson 3, Choosing Your Settings. In this lesson, I'll be talking about how to choose the right settings for your video, what to look out for, and what settings might suit you best depending on the platform you want to upload your video to. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. First, we have our finished project here in the timeline. What we're going to do now is go up to File and go down to Render As and click on that. A Render Settings pop-up window will appear, showing you the details and settings that you can choose to render your video into. Here, you will have the option to choose your file type, displayed on the left, and within the file type, there are also still many more options to choose from. Aside from being able to choose the quality that you want your video to be, there is also the option to choose what frame rate, which is displayed in FPS, or frames per second, you will be rendering in. If you remember this from Unit 14, Lesson 1, common frame rates for movies and broadcasting range from 24, 25, 29.97, or even up to 50 and 59.94. On the left here, you might recognize some other familiar file types that you have seen before, like MP3 over here. That's because Vegas, like most video editing software, also allows you to edit sound and music. This is why they offer the option to render your project into MP3, which is an audio-only file. For our example here, since we want video and audio, we're going to be choosing MP4 at 1080p at 50 frames per second, because that's what the footage was shot at. In the render settings, it's important to understand and know the quality that your main footage is in, because even though Vegas gives you the option to render in Ultra HD 2160p at 59.94 frames per second, if the settings are higher than the raw footage that you shot, you will not be able to view the video in that quality anyways. You can always make something that is high quality lower, but you can't really raise the quality of something because there is not enough information to work with in the first place. So for our example, I usually have my camera shoot raw footage in 1080p at 50 frames per second. If I were to choose 2160p at 59.94 frames per second as our render setting, I would be unnecessarily increasing the file size for an end product that won't even be able to display the video at its fullest. Because our raw footage only goes up to 1080p at 50 frames per second, choosing a setting that goes higher than that footage will just result in a much larger file size that is only able to display the video in the settings that it was originally shot in. There's no magical way for video editing software to add quality to or manipulate raw footage into having more frames than it was originally shot. In fact, if you choose to render at a higher frame rate than your footage, the software will duplicate some frames to fill in the number, which may cause issues in your video smoothness and playback. You can only really go the other direction and compress it, or render into a lower quality than what it was shot in. Another detail to consider is what platform you want to upload your video to. For example, with our marketing promo, we uploaded the video to YouTube. This is what worked best for us and the purposes of our video because we made this video as a promotion, like a commercial sort of, and want to reach a wide audience. The video would also be shown in front of actual people in real life, like auditoriums and for tour groups. So clarity was our biggest priority. Since YouTube accepts files of all different types and sizes, it was the platform that fitted our needs the best. It allowed us to display our video in the highest quality that we shot it in. However, if we were to choose to upload the same video onto a website like TikTok or Instagram, we would need to take into consideration the limitations of each platform and change the settings accordingly. For example, if we were to upload to Instagram, the longest that an Instagram video post allows is 60 seconds, which, in our case, would not have worked since it is far too short for our 2-minute and 37-second video. Instagram video is also in the vertical portrait mode, instead of our usual horizontal landscape mode. So, going over to Instagram would change our aspect ratio and cut off our image. Every website is different in terms of their supported video settings, so make sure to check up on what can or can't be uploaded, so you don't end up having to redo your whole process, edit with different settings, and render your video all over again as well. So, after we've chosen our format and quality, let's take a look at some of the other render settings. First, we're going to come down here to the bottom portion of the settings. This section is where you can choose the directory in your computer which Vegas will save your final rendered video to. To the right, we can see the buttons labeled Browse and Project Location. If we click on Browse, it will open an Explorer window that lets you navigate in your computer and choose which folder you want to render to. Remember to always stay organized. You should have already created a folder labeled Exports or Renders or something like that. So now, let's select that folder. Clicking on Project Location will automatically direct Vegas to render your finished file into the same folder in which your saved project file is. This convenient option is helpful in keeping your files in the same place, but it's still better to create even more specialized folders. Imagine if your edits, backups, B-roll, sound effects, and render were all in the same folder. It would take a lot of time to find what you need. Below our file directory, we have the file name. Remember to name your files too. I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen people panic and think they lost something because all their renders are named Untitled or are just keyboard smashes like ASDFGHJKL. You'll notice that Vegas will automatically name your render after the name of your project. Let's just leave ours as Marketing Promo for now. We won't have to worry about our final video and our project being the same name because we have selected our destination folder as a different one than the one we have saved our project in. It's honestly not the end of the world if you accidentally forget to choose your destination folder, because Vegas's default setting is to render your video into the Documents folder on any computer. This is a useful failsafe for if you ever need to find a video that you have rendered. But if you do it carefully the first time, you won't need to go hunting for your video later. After we have checked all of those, one final useful tool that Vegas offers is that below the name bar, Vegas shows you how much disk space is available in your computer. And to the right of that, it shows an estimated file size. This is quite convenient. When you're not exactly sure how much space the video will take up, the preview and estimate can help you decide where to save your video. Alright, now that we have picked all of our desired settings, double check the file type, quality, destination folder, and name. Once you're sure this is what you want, let's click Render. And now, all there's left to do is wait. That is basically how to choose your settings and render out a final video. In the following lesson, I'll be talking about some extra exporting tips that can be helpful before and during rendering. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye!